Accused Christopher Panayiotou will know today whether he has been found guilty for allegedly orchestrating the murder and abduction of his wife Jayde in April 2015. Judge Jayde is expected to hand down judgment at the Port Elizabeth High Court. Panayiotou's co-accused Zolani Sibeko and Sinatemba Nenembe will also hear their fate. Earlier this week, the court heard closing arguments from both the defence lawyers. For more on the story, let's cross live to our reporter at the Port Elizabeth High Court, Jayde Lee-Polter. Jayde, very good morning to you. Talk to us about what is expected today. Certainly a very big day in Port Elizabeth.
Yes, good morning to you, Leanne, and good morning to the viewers. I can tell you this much, that it's relatively quiet outside the Port Elizabeth High Court, but various media organisations have been stationed outside since 7 o'clock, waiting for court to open to ensure that they get into court. It is expected to be relatively full in courtroom A, where the judgment will be handed down. Also told by, the family members of the Ings family, which is the deceased's family, Jayde, that they're going to be having a silent protest outside court. They have been punting the Justice for Jayde campaign for many years in Port Elizabeth, and several community members are going to come out and stand in solidarity with them. So they will be stationed outside court during that judgment when Judge Jayde hands down his verdict whether Christopher Panayiotou is guilty for conspiring to kill his wife in 2015 or whether there's not enough evidence to prove that. And ironically, Leanne, today the judgment falls on Christopher's 31st birthday, so I can imagine that it's very bittersweet for his family as well. But emotions have been high in this court for a number of weeks now. The state and defence closed their arguments in this week, like you alluded to. And if I can just touch on some of those points, the state is adamant and they maintain that Christopher Panayiotou conspired to kill his wife. They also pulled up various cell phone records, cell phone mapping between the co-accused Sinatemba Nenembe and Zolani Sibeko, which implicates them in the murder as well. And then there's also talks of that incriminating sting video that was brought to the fore a couple of months ago, where Christopher Panayiotou is engaging with Lutando Sioni, which is said to be the middleman in this murder case. And he asks Lutando, why did they not make it look like a botched robbery, and they never stole her jewelry, they botched up the entire murder. So it was quite incriminating, that video. But looking at the defense's case, they argue that that video was obtained unconstitutionally. They also maintain that cell phone mapping and car tracking that was used is also just unsubstantial evidence, that you can't really pinpoint the co-accused to the vicinity where Jayde Panayiotou was abducted. So harrowing evidence came out over the couple of 2 years now, and Christopher Panayiotou has been incarcerated since his arrest in 2015. But it's going to be very interesting to see whether Judge Jayde convicts Christopher Panayiotou for the murder of his wife, or if there's just not enough evidence to pinpoint him to the murder. I can also tell you that the SABC will be running that judgment at 9:30 this morning in the Port Elizabeth High Court. Leanne.
Jayde, just very quickly, what are the state asking for? I mean, ideally, what would the sentence be handed down for murder? Are we looking at about 15 years or more?
That's correct, Leanne. In the beginning, it was said that Christopher Panayiotou and his co-accused will stand for robbery, conspiracy to commit murder, and murder. But the state has subsequently now said that, they want Christopher Panayiotou to be found guilty for murder and also for conspiracy to commit murder. Also told that Zolani Sibeko, which is the fourth suspect in the murder case, will also stand to be convicted for murder and conspiracy to commit murder. And Sinatemba Nenembe, who conspired with Sizwezake Vumasonke, who subsequently died in custody, he will be trialed convicted for murder and robbery as well. Leanne.
All right, thank you very much. Jayde is going to be covering that for us live. And as you heard, SABC will be taking that judgment that is expected after a 2-year trial to see what the conviction is and what the verdict is on the Christopher Panayiotou trial.